Hi, cuties. I'm Lanikia, and you're watching Beyond Salem, Days of Our Lives Beyond Salem, Chapter 2, Chapter 2, Episode 3, because they go by chapters, not seasons. All right, let's get right into it. Where do we want to start? Okay, so we start with seeing Gabby and Lee. So they are in Hong Kong. Now, remember, um, the Shin family wants to have this prism as well because again it'll revolutionize medicine. So they are looking forward to having this prism as well. And he tells her a man won the prism at Phil, which we all know Thomas Banks actually killed Phil, but he says he won it last night gambling, so he invited him here and they're looking forward to actually seeing Phil so they could try to get the prism off of him and everything. So she was like, okay, cool. It sound, that sounds good. So then, they're in this beautiful suite, Hong Kong. That the way Days actually has this set up, it's really pretty. And so she didn't get a knock on the door because I'm not gonna go into all the details on what they was doing. But she and Lee get a knock on the door, and it is Wendy. Remember Lee's sister. So she comes in and she tells them, hey, and he says, what are you doing here or whatever? And she was like, well, I worked on this too. It might have been lowly grunt work, but I still worked on it. And he said, maybe if you would stop complaining about the grunt work and just do it and move, and you could move up and all this kind of stuff. But anyways, she said, I worked on this and I deserve tickets too. So I came for tickets. And so they give her one ticket, and she says, well, I actually need more because I have a date. She said, I actually so Gabby was like, okay. So she was like, I'll give you another ticket. She said, well, I actually have two dates because remember she's there with Tripp and Joey. So Gabby said, okay. And she said, what you doing with it? I mean, Lee says, what are you doing with a date or whatever? And he says, Gabby, this isn't about a date or whatever. She's up to something. And Gabby said, listen, I have a brother too. So Gabby goes ahead and gives her the tickets. She gives her all three tickets. And so Lee is just like, you don't know my sister. When Wendy leaves, he's like, you don't know my sister. She's up to something or whatever. She says, all we need to worry about is getting the prisms or whatever. Just put your focus on that. So they get dressed, and he was like, I'm gonna have a drop dead gorgeous woman on my arm, which Gabby is very pretty. And he said, in a beautiful dress. So I was like, what is this dress gonna look like? Because I'm like, it's a gala or gala, however you want to pronounce it. So I was like, what the dress gonna look like? And I was underwhelmed. I was like, Gabby, that's not what I was expecting, but okay, we're gonna roll with it. You're still a pretty girl, so you can pull it off. But I wanted it to be more gaudy like. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, let's move on. So then we see that Wendy goes down, and Tripp and Joey are concerned because they're like, "Are she gonna be able to pull this off?" But yes, she did pull it off, and so she got them the tickets, and she has the hotel room and everything. So they go up into the room and they're changing and getting ready for the gala. And so as they're getting ready for it and everything, Wendy says, hey, I told them y'all were my dates because Gabby had told her, girl, you don't got to choose, make them both your dates. And she said, if you're lucky, you could have them both in your life or whatever. But anyways, so Wendy says, y'all are both my dates. So I'm gonna need y'all to both pretend that you're attracted to me and y'all, you really like me or whatever. And so Tripp and Joey have gotten ready or almost finished getting ready, and then Wendy comes out, and I liked her dress, her outfit better than Gabby's. It was really pretty. She got a really pretty dress on. It's still a little underwhelming for me for what they're going to, but okay, I get it. But she's a pretty girl as well. So they was like, oh no, it's not gonna be hard to pretend or whatever. And I was like, okay. So then we see so then there's that. And that's it with them, y'all. They're gonna find the prism and everything. And so that's it with those section of people. So then we see who do we go to? Paul and Andrew. So Paul and Andrew have made it to Hong Kong because you remember they have Harris Michaels' room and everything like that, and his tickets to the gala. So they have all of that. They made it to Hong Kong, and so Paul is like, "Where's my room?" And Andrew said, "Well, it was Harris Michaels' room. I didn't want to say anything like get another room. Like, why would y'all get another room?" So he said, "We're gonna have to share." And so Paul was like, all right, cool. So they go up in the room or whatever, and they're getting ready, and they're like, They're getting ready and everything, and that's when, let's see, I'm sorry, just refreshing my memory on there because I don't think it was. Yeah, they just get ready for the whole event and everything, and you could tell that they're really attracted to each other, but I don't know if they're gonna. I mean, it would just be, well, I don't know, because it depends on where Andrew is stationed at, because we know Paul is in California because that's where John went to visit him at. I'm not really sure where Andrew is stationed at, but it's really not much to them today. They're just in Hong Kong. They've made it to Hong Kong, and they're getting ready to go, for them, they're getting ready to go see Harris Michael to try to, find out where their dads are. And that's pretty much that's it. I mean, to find out where John is. And that's pretty much it with them. So then we see, okay, so now Harris is talking to Megan, right? So Harris talks to Megan, and she tells him, "Do you have the prism yet?" And he said, "No." He said, "What I did do is ask Hope to marry me." And she said, "Why? What is this gonna help?" He said, "Well, I asked Hope to marry me." He said, "Because one, if she goes through with the marriage, then I know she's in love with me and she wants to do this." He said, "But I'm starting to suspect that she's onto me." He says, "Plus, if I marry her, I'll have better access to look for the prism and everything." And she said, "Okay, okay." And so then she says, "Well, once you get married to her, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and kill Hope." And he said, why would I do that?" And she said, "Because you would have access, because he would already be, if he kills her, he would be able to get into all her belongings and everything anyways." So he tells her, "I don't think that's a smart move." He said, "We're gonna be at a wedding, her daughter's gonna be there, her son-in-law's gonna be there. Why would we kill her there?" And she's just like, do you have feelings for Hope? Is that what you're trying to say? You have feelings for her or something?" And he's like, "No, no, no, no. That's not what I'm trying to say. I don't have feelings for her at all." He said, "I think the better move would be to kill her, later on." And she said, "Okay, at the honeymoon, in the honeymoon suite. When y'all are alone together after you got married, you can go ahead and kill her then." Because and he reassures her that he's still on her side and he's still looking for the prism, and everything. But he asks her, "What are you going to do with it?" And she says, "You're not paid to ask me questions, or whatever." And she said, but she's going to bring back someone that she loves and she never thought she would be able to bring back again. And we all know I guess she want to try to bring back Stefano. All right, so he finally gets her to agree to not kill Hope there, but at the honeymoon, and so that's it with them. But then we see that she calls in Thomas Banks, and she tells him, "Okay, just in case Harris not doing what he's supposed to do," because she said, "I don't know. I told him to kill Hope, but I don't know about it. I want you to be there to kill her." And I said, "I thought you agreed to kill her after the honeymoon." Or whatever. He said that. So why would you kill her at the wedding? But she got the room set up, and Thomas brings out his assault rifle. His rifle, when they do the snipers. He brings out the long range rifle and everything, and he has a view of the wedding. And so he was like, "Yeah," as soon as she said, so as soon as she says, "I do," go ahead and kill her. So she want Hope dead, really, not only because of the prism, but she upset with Hope about Bo, because she said me and Bo could have been together and Hope ruined it or whatever. I said, "Girl, how many years ago was that? Let it go. Let it go." But she said, "I've been dead. I'm not going to let this go." Okay. So anyway, so she tells him, "Go ahead and snipe her, when as soon as she says, 'I do,' and the wedding is official, we can go ahead and get rid of her." And he said, "Okay, cool." Or whatever. And he said, "I like to work alone." She said, "Oh, I'm gonna leave you alone because I want front row seats to this, to Bo's demise or whatever." So she leaves or whatever. So then we go back to the house, and and Hope goes in there, and she tells Hope tells Ciara and Ben there. I said, "Well," because Ciara said, "Oh, Mom, breakfast in bed," because she had coffee mugs. And I said, "Girl, she got granola bars and stuff in that coffee mug. This is a horrible breakfast in bed." And Hope said, "Oh, no." And she said, "I checked the weather. Today is a perfect day for chilling. Y'all need to, y'all could go ahead and, take you snacks and go." I said, "Hope, you kicking them out?" "Yes, she is." Hope says, "It's time for y'all to go," or whatever. And so Ciara looks at Ben and she said, "What the heck just happened here?" So they get dressed and everything. And let me tell you something. Hope has been dressing on this soap beyond Salem. Like her outfits have been so put together. But Hope is thinking about, like, she's sitting there and she's thinking about Bo and how it was when they got married and put it on the rings and everything. And she's thinking about that. And then she looks at her ring from Harris, and we all know, we can already tell, oh boy, but Hope is not into this. So then Ciara and Ben come out, and they're just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You're kicking us out. And Ciara says, listen. She sits down and she said, I'm not leaving until you explain what's going on. And Ben says, you know she's telling the truth. Like, you know she's serious. So Hope finally tells them how she went to Greece, she found the prism, and then she met Harris. She didn't connect the two until she started noticing that somebody's been looking through my stuff. And why is he love bombing me, telling me he loves me and he's falling so hard and whatever? She said, this ain't right. And so she started to suspect that he was looking for the prism as well. So she tells them the story about Megan and Stefano, and she says, I don't know who he's working for because both of them are, dead. And because she doesn't know Megan's alive, so she's like, both of them are dead. So I don't know who he could be working for to try to get this prism, but I think that's what it is. So she was like, I'm going to marry him because marrying him will help me as to find out who he's working for and everything. Ciara thinks it's a horrible idea, and but Hope says, I'm going to do this. So then Harris shows up, and he tells her, because she says the kids are leaving today, but then Harris says, well, I found our favorite spot. We could get married there today or whatever. And she was like, today? And she says, no, I can't get married today, and the kids are about to leave. And Ciara and Ben said, no, we're staying. We're gonna stay. It's okay. You could go and get married. We wouldn't miss this. And so Hope is just like, no. But they're like, no, we'll stay. And so then the next thing we see, Hope has gotten ready for this wedding and everything, right? And so she has the prism between her bosom. Now, y'all, Megan gonna tell Thomas Banks, I brought the bride something. Here's something old. Something old is the bride. I said, no, you didn't. Are you wrong for that? And something new is the bullet. I said, girl, stop. But anyway, so Hope's getting ready for the wedding, and Ciara, Ben, Harris, and Hope is walking down the aisle. So then we see Bo in heaven, and he's going because he's like, hey, something's wrong with this man. Look, this man is meaning no good for Hope and all that. So she says, he was like, did you get the meeting with God? He tells Angela that. And she said, nah, he said, you have to go to arbitration. So he goes, and Larry Welch is the judge. But he does convince, I'm not going to hold you long, he does convince Larry to let him be the person, to let him go down to earth. So Angela come out pretending like he wasn't gonna get to go, acting all sad and stuff, wasting a few minutes doing all that, and then she finally tells him he granted you a second chance so you can go down or whatever. And so Bo is like, cool. So then he wasting time too to trying to tell Angela how happy he is and thank you so much. So by the time he gets to the door, Hope is at the wedding, and they've gotten up to the I do part. But Ciara stopped it. She said, Mom, don't do this. Don't do this. Because Ciara said she had told Hope earlier, you're making a mockery of what you had with Dad. Like, I can't believe you're doing this. Like, what you have with Dad is real, and wedding vows are very serious, and you're playing around with them. And she said your dad will understand. This is not about a real wedding. This is business. Like, this is me being undercover and all that. But excuse me, Ciara don't want to hear all that. But anyway, so they get to the wedding, and Ciara tries to interrupt the wedding, and Hope tells her, I know what I'm doing. I got this. And Harris is like, what's going on? And Hope says nothing. So they proceed to get married. They say I do and everything. And they get married, and they're about to kiss. And as Hope is leaning in to kiss Harris, a gold, because Thomas Banks has on shades, right? And the shade some kind of way reflected onto Hope's face. And she said, what is that flicker? And Harris was like, what do you mean? And she said, there's a flicker. And then the next thing you know, Hope, they show Bo about to leave out. And the next thing you know, you hear a gunshot. And Bo turns around and he looks at the screen, and he sees Hope on the ground, and Ciara and Ben have run up to her, and they're like, oh my gosh. And they're like, Hope. And she's like, Mom. And then Harris looks like, what's going on? Because remember, he didn't know that Megan was going to have Thomas Banks to actually take Hope out. And so Hope is shot and she's on the ground. And Bo is like, oh my gosh, I'm too late or whatever. And that was Beyond Salem today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you tomorrow for chapter 2, episode 4.